And welcome back to the HeadKanon podcast. If you're new here, we have a fresh and hot episode every Tuesday on YouTube. Anywhere else you can get your podcast. You can also keep up with the show on Instagram, Twitter, and Discord. Links below. I'm Crockett. That's Bryan.
Yep.
And we have a special guest today, Mel from Malicious Society.
Yeah, Mel. So Mel is an artist and a small business owner. I think we met at the Queen City Anime Con. Did I take your picture at that con?
You were in
Makima?
I was in like the big not the big group shots, but the separate ones. Like we were doing like a video.
Yeah, we did that was Welcome to Queen, or This is Queen City.
Yeah.
It was a video that I shot.
Okay, yeah. So
nice.
I was in that one, and I don't think I was any of the Makimas that got like solo shots. Maybe a couple. I can't remember.
Do you remember how you got into that?
Which
I do, because so I was running around.
Oh yeah,
because I was set in charge of doing the photo shoot for the Chainsaw Man cosplayers that day, and there was a change where because it was supposed to be outside.
And it started raining.
And it started raining.
Yes.
And then there was no way to communicate that to any of the cosplayers.
Yeah.
So I just took it upon myself. I'm like, well, I was left in charge of this, so I'm just going to run like crazy, find anyone that's dressed in Chainsaw Man attire, and just tell them that we're meeting in this weird little area that we kind of just picked.
The funny thing about that is that you hired me as your photographer for that. You put me as a photographer down for that. I saw Crockett for 3 minutes during that entire photo shoot.
Right.
And then he was legging it all around the fucking place trying to figure it out.
Yes, I was trying. So I think it was that a 3-day con, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think on Friday there were like rumors of like, oh, there's gonna be like a Chainsaw Man photo shoot. I can't even remember if it was Saturday or Sunday when the photo shoot was, but it was like rumors of that, and I was like telling every Chainsaw Man cosplayer, or they would tell me, and I was like, I don't know where it is, and then we were like all looking on like stuff, and we're like, we can't find it anywhere, so it was like word of mouth things, and then I think I had like left my booth at that point, and I was like on the way to find someone that knew where we were gonna go. And then you're like, I think you were dingy without the head, so like you're like running around like finding people. I was like, perfect, where do we go? Yeah. And so then by the time I got there, because I'm running a booth, unlike everybody else that's just enjoying their time, so I'm more I'm a bit later on the draw, so I got to the tail end of like the outdoor like Makima photo shoot.
Gotcha, yeah, because there was another one like after us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I took a whole bunch of pictures that day. It was super chaotic. Queen City was a really, really fun con. But yeah, so you said you were just running a booth. Can you tell the people like what it is that you sell, or like what you run for a booth?
Yeah, I sell a collection of like different items and things. So Malicious Society started with like just car decals and different things like that. So I sell car decals in my booth. I sell prints, big prints and small prints. And I also sell like bookmarks that have like front and back. They're really cute. And then I have some holographic things to choose from as well, like car decal or sticker. They can go in water bottles, anything like that. And then I also have the calendar right now, so that's really fun. Yes, nice. I have a calendar, so it has like a lot of the art prints and that together, and it looks really nice. It's like a villain calendar though, so
that's amazing.
And this is your own artwork that you're creating.
It is not. I am more of a brand than I am anything else. So me is basically like a brand. I commercially commission art and artists. And so I'll be selling their stuff, but the car decals are my own designs fully, like that. So
that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, my car's like decked out, like on the back. They're like my little family.
That's how I knew when I pulled into a parking lot. I'm like, that must be Mel.
Yeah,
right
she has,
all the stickers
she has
right
weird
there.
car.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm also Honda Civic Gang.
Yeah, they're cute. They're
Doesn't
fun.
your car say like some weep shit?
Yeah, it does. It has.
I think
it
if
has
you own a Honda Civic, that's like a qualification, like to actually have one.
So it's a Hyuga Simonzi or some shit like that.
You know, on the way here, I have murdered out headlights, so I cannot see. I have it's like 5% tint on my headlights.
Yeah. Is that safe? Is that legal?
No, it is. And I finally got it. So I went to Bryan's house like last week to stream the Game Awards, and I could not see anything. It was raining, and I'm like,
That road is dark as hell. Too.
I could not see in front of me. I was like, because typically I don't have to really drive at night, and I've had I had my headlights tinted for like 6 months or something, and I've never really had a drove at night too much, not enough to where it's like in the way. But when I was driving to Bryan's house, I was like, I cannot see anything. So right before I was coming here, I was trying to like pick off my like the tint, and I was like busting up my fingernails and everything.
Did you put the tint on yourself?
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
yeah.
Nice.
But like,
it's important to note. I just realized because I'm so used to cosplay because we talk to a lot of people that cosplay all the time.
Yeah.
You're dressed in cosplay. You're cosplaying as Ghetto.
Yes.
Just in case anybody was wondering. Suguru Ghetto. Is Jujutsu Kaisen your favorite?
Chainsaw Man's probably my favorite.
Let's go.
Dude, Chainsaw Man.
Yeah, Jujutsu's like number 2. So like it's not far behind. I just like Chainsaw Man just like a little more. I got the book the first day it came out, like in English, like printing. Like I was there. Yeah. My boyfriend suggested me, like he was like, oh, I hear of this. It's like supposed to be pretty good. And then I was like out at a comic store and I was like, well, I'm buying this. And then I read it. And then I read almost the entirety of the story within like 2 days at that point. So
I feel like every person that's into Chainsaw Man does
like drugs.
that. Like they just read the entire thing in fully. But when you go back and you try to recall like someone's name, you're like, I have no idea who this character
it's so
is.
Bad. Yes. Like, yes, exactly. It's like when you binge it, you can't remember it. So you always have to read it like a second time,
little
like later
details,
on. Yeah.
Right out the window.
I'm purely an anime watcher. I got into it. So by the time that we did the Queen City photo shoot, I had no idea who any of the people were. So Crockett left me in a room full of like Makimas and Powers, and I had no idea who anyone was. And that's how I got into Chainsaw Man. And it's been, dude, it's my favorite.
So you're
anime
still an anime only.
I'm still
right?
an anime only. I'm waiting for this season of the anime to be done and then catch up with the rest of the manga.
You need to, dude. We're even done with Chainsaw Man. We're on part 2 now.
I know.
Wait, so what do you mean you're done with Chainsaw Man?
Well, like there's
Is part 2 like a different character?
No, it's same character, but there's the entirety of the first run is like called, I guess now part 1, and then now we're on part 2 where it has. You remember the girl that was like stomping on the chicken, and you probably had no idea. That's actually part 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
That chapter had came out like a couple weeks right before Queen City, so it was like
so many people were like, "Oh my gosh, did you see like part 2 is out at Queen City?" I was like, "Yes, yes." I'm so excited.
That's like one crazy thing about like cosplayers, like they're right on the fucking edge of sometimes of like. No, this came out and someone already has like a cosplay of it.
I don't know how you guys do it because like every time I read some news, someone tells me that it's been out for 6 weeks. It's been out for like we knew that.
I want to do. I actually already have a Yoru cosplay, but I haven't like tried it on and everything yet. Which Yoru is like in the new like part 2.
Gotcha.
Not like big spoiler, just a different character. So anyway, I have like her cosplay, and I really want to get like that sword thing she has like made.
Oh, right, yeah.
Without spoiling that too much, I don't know, but yeah,
we'll leave it at that.
Really want to make that.
God, I'm so excited to catch up with Chainsaw Man.
Oh, it's so good. I'm actually not caught up on the anime, but I've read the manga, so it's fine.
So I wanted to. You mentioned that you're kind of like a unified, like a brand, and then you just commission artwork and then sell the artwork. Like, how does that work?
It's pretty much. I work like another job, or I always do like multiple things. So along the way, I was selling my car decals, and I was like, I just really want to like have art, and I don't have the capability, like the time and everything to sell, like to make and then produce and then sell and also run a business.
Right.
I'm an artist, but I'm not at the level that I also want to be, and, you know, like hypercritical of yourself and everything. Yeah. So it's a lot easier to work with artists to get exactly what you want, or you create these great bonds with these people, and they're so lovely and to work with, and you can work with them multiple times. Like I work with so many artists from like different places, like just everywhere, like Mexico. I work with a couple girls in Ukraine. So
oh, really?
They've been really fun to work with. I work with like a couple artists here in the States, but for the most part, I work with like artists like pretty consistently. So I have like this collection of people that I've worked with, and you pay for commercial rights. So that is you paying an extra fee or whatever they want to charge. It can be double, it can be triple, it can be whatever they feel is necessary to charge you based upon the fact that you are going to be making money off their art.
Gotcha.
Versus like a regular like commission where somebody draws your character for $100, I would be paying like $200 or
so you're not licensing out, you're just buying the selling rights.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, it's like I would have to pay them extra to then sell the work at cons and stuff like that.
That's cool.
And then it's like just outright, like you always have that, or is it for like just a certain amount of time?
Sometimes no, I haven't had anything be like, oh, you can only use it for like this amount of time, or nobody's said anything like that.
It's like you commission those pieces, and then that
so
piece
they're like
is yours.
My companies or my pieces that I can use. Sometimes they'll ask me like, well, what are you going to do with it? And I'll be like, need it for a bunch of stuff. I need it for like, I wanted to do like car decals with it at first, like maybe like the slaps, like the rectangular decals with like color. But then I decided to do like the prints and the bookmarks and do different things with that. And I also have like flags now too, but I haven't like quite gotten those underway completely. But yeah, I like to use the art for like a multitude of different things, and they're like totally fine with that. Like you just let them know if they ask like ahead of time. That's because awesome. Some don't really care what you do with it. They just like,
So how'd you get like started into like reaching out to other artists? So you're an artist, you started off just selling out card
like
decals.
My own stuff. Yeah. And I also like prior to this, actually, this is kind of funny, trivia into brand prior to it being what it is right now. I was selling like Sakuna fingers. Like I had made them and I was selling those and they were like really cool. They like were doing great on Etsy. And so I had been making Sakuna fingers and stuff like that, and different like little things that involved like clay or Evafoam and different things. So I am good at like making props and stuff like that. It's just they're very time consuming, and it like when you're hunched over like this for so long, your back just hurts so bad. So I was having like issues with that, and I was like, I just got to find something else I can do. So I thought of like card decals, because I started making card decals because I was so I really wanted some for my car, and I could not find what I wanted. And I was like, well, I'm gonna just buy all the materials to do it myself and sell them. So then I started selling those on Etsy as well. But it pretty much started with just my perseverance of wanting certain characters for my car and different things like that. So
that's really damn cool. I admire that. If you can't find them, just make it yourself.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then monetize.
You only have to buy an entire cricket. Cricket.
Yeah, cricket.
Yeah. You only have to buy like one of those. It's only $300.
It's no biggie. And then all the vinyl and everything else that you need to do.
But yeah, I mean,
so you started off like just doing like you bought a cricket and then just started printing off stuff like that.
Which like I'm like designing like the character and stuff like that on like Illustrator and different things like pen tooling and like drawing and different stuff like that, taking different images, like referencing them and making my decal. And then the decal gets uploaded into the Cricut, and then I'll cut that design, whatever it may be. So everything that comes out, you're hand cutting it all and everything like that. Yeah, like I do it most of the time, but I also have like my friends and stuff like help me sometimes because like I got like super overwhelmed, like especially when like Mugen Train Demon Slayer came out.
Right.
Yeah.
I had like just uploaded some like Demon Slayer stuff on Etsy, and oh my gosh, it was just like I've cut so many like Rengoku stuff. It's like crazy. But it just kind of
it's all Rengoku.
Yeah, when that movie had like a vice grip on.
Dude, they grabbed everybody. Yeah. I know that you're not a huge Demon Slayer guy. Demon Slayer goes so hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's art.
Yeah.
It's okay.
The last season, like that animation, I was like taken back.
Gosh,
oh my Jesus Christ!
It looked like
the
it's getting to the point
was super
like,
beautiful too. The movie was super beautiful, and I didn't really like that arc too much when I was like reading it, but just seeing it play out on screen was like a completely different experience for me.
My girlfriend said the exact same thing. She was like, "Oh, when I read it, it was really good." But seeing it animated is like fucking incredible.
I feel the same.
That's always the funniest. I saw one meme one time about like manga readers reading like a fight sequence and they're like, this is so good in my head. This looks so cool, and they have no idea how it's actually going to be animated.
The fight goes so hard.
Yeah, it's just like a bunch of like kinetic like just drawings.
Oh, especially in like Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm like, I have no idea what's happening with this domain expansion. I'll just see when it's animated and see what everybody else gets.
You know what's funny about the
no idea. Absolutely none.
Yeah. It's like that, and then voices, how people sound, because I'm getting hit with like the Chainsaw Man anime where I'm like, this character did not sound how I pictured it in my head. My HeadKanon.
That's really
hit the drums. There we go.
Yeah, I am so glad I pressed the right button. Yeah, that's a really fun thing. All the voices always sound like how I imagine them to sound. Maybe I just like, everybody just speaks in my voice when I read them. And I just like
everyone sounds just like you.
Yeah, everyone sounds just like me. And it's just like, yeah, of course that guy sounds like that. So you were talking about like, I don't know if you finished, but you were talking about how Malicious Society started.
Yeah.
How did the brand element start for it? Like, is there a story behind it? Is it
like just the name, or like just deciding I wanted to do a brand?
Just deciding you wanted to do it.
I was not really working like, I guess, like, you know, an adult job yet, where like your entire soul is put into the 9 to 5 and doing different things like that. And so I started selling the Sakuna fingers in like November. I think it might have been like 2020, 2019. I can't remember right now, but it was one of those years, and I got started with that. And when I was working, I had like a different name at the beginning because I just couldn't decide on a name. And then I was like choosing between a few things, and I was like, I just really want to like do stuff for like people that really like villains and like the same stuff I do. I was like, I cannot be the only person here that like likes the bad characters more than the good ones. I'm gonna focus on that mainly, but like obviously my card decals, I kind of do like everything, but like for the prints, it's a much heavier focus on like villain prints than like I have like Tengen as like Demon Slayer, but I have Daki, Kokoshibo, Akaza, like I have like everybody else, but no, I have like, and like Nezuko, but she's in demon form. Yeah. So like I have like a bunch more prints that are just like more so heavily focused on like,
that's a pretty cool
evil
idea to like do art, but also like target like a very specific market of it.
I mean, that's like pretty much how marketing goes. You kind of like want to do it like a shotgun blast, but that's not really gonna pinpoint and narrow down like whatever niche you're going to.
Yeah, you'll grow a lot faster if you have a niche audience like drill into.
So like I want to focus on like villains or like bad guys or like just different things in general like that. Like so it works well enough. I'm just terrible at like marketing myself because I've been working another job and I just It's like social media is exactly what I'm doing at that job. And so when I get home, I can't do social media. It's so rough.
I totally get that. I recently, up until recently, I was a content creator for a marketing agency. Mm-hmm. And then so I would edit 7 hours a day, and then I would have to come home on a Friday and then spend 3 more hours like cutting together the show or like making a video. It eats away at you after a while.
Yeah, I got so burned out I guess it was around a year ago. I just got really burned out. And then my efforts started going into like conventions and like figuring out how I was going to make that work. So that's where a lot more of my effort went this past year. And now I want to get back into like the creation of products because I was having to buy a lot and make a lot for these conventions. And it's kind of like put a lack on like my actual like production of like buying. Say like I wanted to do a bag, like I don't, but like say I did. So it's like you have to spend so much time talking to manufacturers or whoever to get said thing done, and it's an exhausting process because especially when the time zones are completely off because most of the manufacturers are like Chinese factories and their time zone is completely flipped from ours. So you have a very limited window to like actually talk with people if you're getting products manufactured in that way.
Or just wake up at like 3 a.m. and be like, hey, I got some orders.
I am up till like 4 most nights. So it's
but that's the price of like small business ownership that like a lot of people don't talk about. It's kind of like all of the tiny little hoops that you have to jump through.
The logistics of everything.
Yeah, that people don't see.
And a lot of the time it's just like one person and like some of their friends or something like that. So it really is like you are on your own and you're your own boss. And if you're doing a terrible job, it's gonna just be your own fault, which is the hardest thing. Like if you're not like managing your time properly, like that's on you, and that's rough because everybody struggles with different things, and that's probably the hardest aspect is just like getting off your ass and doing things you need to do.
Or like not having the funds to like hire somebody to do the thing that that you can't do all that well. I would love to outsource some shit. Like, that'd be great.
I know. If you have like the funds to, that's like the best thing you could do to like manage your time. Like I've had friends help me with like decals and different things like that because I truly like did not have the time or capacity to do it all by myself.
It could probably start to get really like overwhelming, right?
Yeah.
Especially like when Demon Slayer came out.
Yeah, that was insane. Like it was like I would be at work and then I'd come home and work more. And then like my mom would have been helping like do stuff throughout the day, like say cutting the decals, like just explaining like the process of how to do like that. So like people can do as much like as you ask, but it's still just so overwhelming.
Oh yeah.
You're not Amazon Prime. You're not getting this about.
Absolutely not. Nobody. No. But the best part is like sometimes like customers don't really understand that you're not Amazon Prime or that you work a lot of stuff. Luckily, my experiences have been really great, but because I am like a small business owner, I work with a ton of other, or not work with, but I associate with and am friends with like a lot of other like brands or artists in general. And I see them post all the time. Like I am just one person. Like I am one mere mortal. Like please, like I will get everything out, but I just need like the time to properly pack like 200 orders. And I'm like,
I see those posts all the time from artists, especially like digital commissioners. They get like 50 orders. Every one of those drawings is like 5 hours. Like
at least some of my artists are like, I don't understand how like these, like I've seen them post about it. They're like, I don't know how people draw fast, because for me it's like this very slow like paint drying process. Like it's so slow.
So what was your transition like from like working like selling stuff for Etsy and then going to conventions and getting into that market? That's a pretty
I just pretty much like want more people to know about the brand, and I think about this. I am pretty sure I got banned on Etsy like around the time. When was it? Okay, so my first convention was this past March. So I think I was off of Etsy in December, maybe like 4 months prior.
Yeah.
So
what happened there?
I had like. You gotta be so careful selling on Etsy because copyright will get you. It's pretty much copyright strikes.
And they were like,
like just dumb. They were so dumb, and I was just like, they were from 6 months ago. I was like, can't y'all just let it slide? Like I don't even have anything like that up anymore. The problem was I had gotten an email that was like, you need to take these listings down, and I was like, okay, and I did, but then like. I was gonna like re-edit things to be like less conspicuous, like it'd be fine. Then I went to work, and then I came back and I saw another email. And it was like, "You've passed your final warning." Like basically, I was like, "Oh no!" And so I thought like my store would be closed down like 6 months prior. So when it lasted 6 more months, I was like, "Dang, this is great." And no, it's gone now. But
it'd be really funny if this managed to slide the whole time.
Etsy is really, truly, if you're starting out, be super careful on the words you use, the names you use, everything like that. Like, just don't use any. And but it's a great exposure piece. But exposure is only going to do so much because the people that are buying from you on Etsy are not really going to be following you or buying from you on other platforms.
Right.
They're just there to get like an item and be gone pretty much. So I would say it'd be a better idea to maybe like dual have a store, like, which is what I was doing, which was like having an Etsy and then also having my own store, and like make friends in the community with other people, or different stuff like that. Like, that's probably the best thing you can do, because then you can be in like group giveaways or different things, and more people are going to find out about you if they like, you know, bigger accounts will generally be very nice and like enjoy your product if your product is good. So right. I would say Etsy is less of a platform to last on.
It's like a
for
good
the most
stepping
part,
stone.
it's a good stepping stone. They take so many fees.
Yeah.
They take a huge, incredibly huge amount of fees. And that was like my big issue there. I don't really miss being there, and I don't really miss the exposure of it. They take so many fees when I was doing it, and then they even upped the fees since then.
Oh, wow.
So they take
it's like rent.
Insane amount of fees, yeah.
For an electronics store, that's insane. Yeah. I remember a while ago, Etsy was one of those stores that was hit with a lot of controversy for like just an absurd amount of fees, or like not being super nice to its creators.
Yeah, so. They word it so nicely when they slap another like % fee on you too, and I'm like, that email sucks, man. Like a lot of my friends, like, you know, Etsy is just a good stepping stone, truly. And like, if you manage to like avoid the copyright police, like, congrats to you. It does help to like sell there, but pretty much like once, like, you know, the fees, the taxes, the effort that goes into it, it's really like, I crunched the numbers. It really wasn't worth being on there. I was like, it's fine. I'm fine.
You're like staring at a calculator like, I am at a loss. What the hell?
Why is this in the negatives? No, yeah, it's just a stepping stone. It's really nice. That's why I kind of got into conventions, because I was like, I want to see more people. Yeah. I want to sell to more people, and if I can't sell at Etsy, I can sell in person. So I drive to a lot of conventions and stuff like that, like up and down like the East Coast, but not like too far because I'm driving. I know a lot of people fly though, like a lot of people.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot. I met a lot of traveling cosplayers. Like they just go to the cons to like model the cosplays and like make money that way. Yeah. There's a lot of travel and like, just going to cons and stuff like that.
Yeah. I have no idea how these people put faith in, the airport agents to get their packages there. That causes me so much anxiety. I don't think I can do it yet.
Yeah. Like, that would be, like, the one hang up, like, for sure. Like, just be like, well, what is this, all this?
I would get arrested.
Or just, like, losing all your stuff. Yeah. Like, someone just loses it.
Someone, like, literally, like, you get to the convention, like, a day early, and it's like, your packages don't. And I'm like, well, what do you do there then? Like, you're just screwed. So
you start drawing doodles quickly.
Let me just whip those out in my blank booth. Maybe I'll make back $5 out of that $300 deposit.
That's crazy. So how does that whole, you started doing your conventions to see more? Is that process like crazy? It seems crazy. From an end of somebody that doesn't sell, it seems fucking insane. To like all the prep
to go from like basically zero and it being like me doing everything at home to then having to, like, I am hand cutting, like hand peeling, I guess, like it's peeling the decal design off. Mm-hmm. Like, I carry those with me, and to have all of those things like hand done, like that is some serious effort, because the prints is easy. You just commission them and then you make like some color corrections, because like the printers are going to be like, I actually do a lot of the backgrounds for my prints, because I have them do like the character and then I'll like make a cool background for it, because I'm a graphic designer. And so I like doing design things more than I do like art things, I guess, nowadays. And but so like the prints are pretty easy because you just have to like get them finished artistically, and then you send them somewhere and you get them printed, and then they come to you, and then you just like bring those around with you, which is like fine. The harder part is the decals for me because they're like hand done products. And I mean, I'm sure other people that vend also have hand products, like especially those like crochet, like little critters you'll see like for sale. Oh my God, those would like, those would take some time. But yeah, so like to like hand make stuff or put money into it, like that scares me so much with like traveling with like certain things. But yeah, going from basically just doing everything at home to then like bringing it all with you at cons isn't like that crazy, but you have to have so much stockpiled for the cons, which is like the crazier part. And then you have to be on your game at like being aware when like cons are opening their applications for applying, because they can open it a year early or they can open it like 3 months before the convention. You really have no idea because some of them aren't very active on their social.
So it's just kind of on you to like figure it out.
So yeah, you gotta like really pay attention to that stuff.
Yeah, some conventions do not like up to date some of their like websites or Discords, or a lot of stuff will be like there was like I think it was Ichiban Con I was looking at recently, and it was like you click out this link and it's like stuff from like 2009 or something. I'm like,
great.
Like, why is this the opening page or something?
There's some like social media of theirs is like super old, and like they now have like, I guess they have a con with like Bonsai, Triad, and Ichiban. I think they're like
it's like you can get like a season pass for it.
So like, but what I'm saying is like their socials is all on like one thing, but then you'll find like their socials before they had like that one thing, and it's 10 years old or something like that. So I was like, how do I find like the actual? So some of these are like really hard to track down. Like it's just a process. Really.
And then when you're trying to get dates and you're trying to figure this out, and then there's deadlines for those dates. And then it's kind of like, it's not like an organization. It's just kind of like a group of people that like someone's working. This is their second job, and they will check the email when they can get time to do it.
Yes, very much so. Yeah.
That does feel like the spirit of like a lot of like the like geek culture in general. It always just feels like it's a bunch of people that are like really interested in this one thing. And we're all just by the seat of our pants trying to figure out how the fuck to make it work.
It's almost like a hobby that's bled over into their like normal main life.
Yeah, just keep taking a little bit more space and more space every once in a while.
Yeah.
That's really funny. So I guess like the stockpiling process is just like the really crazy part.
Yeah. Plus like I got a lot of different, I have to have, well, everybody does. You have to have like, or be creative on like what you want to use to display your stuff. So you have to buy like a bunch of display stuff. Like there's these like little cubicle things that you can like take apart, and those are like godsend. Like I swear, like if you like actually look around, like half the people there use them, and then they're like have the big tripod things that hold all the prints up. So I was like, when I went to like Ichiban Con last time, I wasn't bending there or anything like that. I was just going as a guest, and I was like looking around at everything, and I was like, okay, these people are displaying prints with this, and I don't. And like some people will display the prints like with just like taping them up every single convention they go to. But I was like looking at some other people, and they had like hooks that like hook theirs, and I was like, I want to do that because that makes it really easy to like fold down and fold up every con, and I can just bring them with me, and not have to like set up. Really, I like to make things like as simple as possible to set up and tear down without being like wasteful and stuff like that. So I just like it's a very like quick process. It takes like maybe hour and a half to set up, but like tear down process is like we can do it in like 25 minutes probably. We're like demon speed on it. So
just tearing shit down.
Yes.
Yeah, you're like
we're like we are done here. So
take a bath.
Yeah. I don't experience much at the cons aside from just the con and then like dying in the hotel room. So.
So you were going to conventions before you wanted to start selling at them.
I've only been to maybe like 3 conventions in my life, and I went to one and I met one of my like really good friends. She's an artist ally, so I had a few. So I got to talk to her and like figure out like more stuff for what to do at conventions and like what to expect and just different things like that. So if you have someone to talk to, it's like an easier process. You're less stressed and worried about stuff. So I was good friends with her, and so a lot of the stuff I'm just doing myself. I'm gone right now.
This definitely happens.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's all good. So like you were going to conventions, and then you ran into when you met a friend, and then you kind of got the details of like what to do next.
That's always super helpful.
And then your Etsy store gets shut down.
What that process?
and then you got the idea of like going to conventions and stuff like that, right? You got DMC'd hard.
Yeah,
and then,
I did. Yeah, from like 6 months prior. That felt real nice. Yeah.
Hey, don't feel bad.
This is exactly the process. This was really funny about this. But yeah, I actually went to GalaxyCon Raleigh, which is like a really big convention, and it's really fun. And that's where I met my friend, and that's when I got to like talk and stuff about that. So I was like thinking of ways to like further my brand back in July when I went to that convention. And then is it January? Ichiban?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I went to that one in January and got to like, I was like, I'm set on doing this. Let me just like take photos of stuff. Let me just like look at everything to like figure out what exactly I need. And then
you're taking notes. You're like, little notebook.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. Like it's like photos on my phone. And then I went to GalaxyCon Richmond in March that year. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So that was the first one I vended at, was a GalaxyCon.
That was the first one you started selling at?
Yes. And I was beside my friend. So that was really fun.
Oh, that's cute.
Can you run us like the process of like going, like looking it up and then applying and then be like, okay, I need to go and buy all this stuff?
Yeah. So a lot of the time I am pretty much aware roughly when cons are happening, and a lot of the time their application is like roughly like, let's say like 8 months prior, like you need to apply.
Yeah.
So
you're ultra instinct on it. You're like, you're just especially aware.
So like you have to be aware of stuff. And
just imagine you like sat in your living room one day and then you just like the sudden like ding happens. You're like, oh fuck, I gotta apply right now. The old trend.
Actually, I had that happen. It's like it's more of like a heart attack feeling.
Dealing with cons, that's kind of like in the culture, because if you're going to a con and you have to get a hotel there, you have to schedule it like 6 months in advance.
Yeah, you are.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
like Ichiban, I was trying to get a hotel and they're completely sold out.
Oh yeah, I saw that you were looking for a room.
Really?
We were actually supposed to do a panel there and we've already missed the deadline, so we can't.
Totally forgot to apply.
Yeah, see, doesn't it suck?
Yeah,
it does. Yeah, well, at least you didn't get rejected. So.
That's even worse. Yeah. Well, when we applied to do our panel at Queen City, we're like, we're 100% going to get rejected here, because we actually, the first time last year when we went to Queen City, we did it in the hallway.
Yeah, we did a podcast episode in the hallway, like
nice.
completely.
And we just had people walking by. We're like, hey, you wanna come over here and like talk to us? We look like freaks.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead. So you're like taking down notes. GalaxyCon was the first one that you sold at. What was like trying to? So you just made a list of like everything that you needed to buy, your little racks and your little cubicle and all that.
List everything. Hotels are done, everything like that. And since I was going with a friend, I was like splitting the hotel with them and stuff like that.
Okay, that's probably good.
Yeah.
How does the economy work when you're like setting up a booth? Do you pay the venue beforehand? Do you pay like a profit share?
Yeah, you have to pay. I guess it's like you place an application, and then sometimes it's set up to where you can, like, if you get accepted, you can pay then, and like you can take a couple days to pay. Other times it's like it's immediately out of your like
account,
like it's gone, like rip $500, like whatever. So sometimes like stuff is like set up nicer to where they give you like a chance to like respond, and then other times it's like just straight out your account. So. Yeah.
So I guess at that point you're just like, well, I guess I'm going to that con.
Yeah, a lot. And then a lot of stuff, like there's a lot of like fine print and things like that. And I haven't had to like cancel a con yet, but like sometimes they'll offer refunds up to like X amount of days or different things like that. Sometimes it's like absolutely no refunds under like any circumstance. It's just like I read a lot of the fine print because I sell like more than just my art. Yeah. So I don't want to like impose on like Artist Alley if I'm not allowed to be there, and I would prefer to be a vendor. But a lot of the time being a vendor requires you to have like licensed material, which mine is not licensed.
Yeah,
So
can we
like
go through
a
that
big-
like real quick? Like
Yeah.
the difference between like Artist Alley and then the vendors.
Yeah, so Artist Alley in itself is typically like you have it's typically cheaper to be an Artist Alley, and that price can vary from like depending on the con like $100 to like freaking $400. But then to be a vendor, you typically get a bigger space than you would in Artist Alley typically, and you typically sell licensed merchandise, or a lot of it's not licensed, but you typically just sell merchandise versus like actual human like art.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
And typically Consulate will keep these two things separately.
They always keep them really like separate by some means. Like if you look at the map, you'll see like the Artist Alley like is in this little area, and then this area is like a vendor. So yeah, like at Queen City, they had the vendors like right in the center, and then
towards the outskirts.
Actually, no, they had it like I guess the whole half, and then the half I was in was Artist Alley there.
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't know any of the differences.
Yeah. So typically, I mean, vendor booths cost a decent amount more, but you do get more space, and I personally really like having the space to like put my stuff, because I feel like I'm like super cramped in Artist Alley because it's very it is like very cramped. Like even like sometimes they'll have like them like in these rows, and like you have people like behind you like pretty close. So the space is really nice with vendors, but at the same time, because of the nature of my prints that I'm selling, sometimes I fit better in Artist Alley than I would in vendor.
How come? Is it just a licensing?
No, it's like some places say you sell prints, you sell anime prints, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, well, guess who else sells a lot of anime prints? Well, that's Artist Alley.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of blend better there, plus that's where the anime people are going.
Right.
Like that's where they're going. Whereas like vendor, it completely depends on the con, honestly. Like Queen City, I would have been fine either.
Right.
But at GalaxyCon, you only fit at like Artist Alley pretty much. There are like premium artist spaces that you can use, but like, it depends.
And I guess we should preference like
totally
there's
depends, like,
some conventions are like more geared towards like anime, and then some are more geared towards like sci-fi.
Some are more geared towards like sci-fi, comic, Star Wars-esque. But then sometimes it's like they're just a mix. Like that's typically what GalaxyCon is just a mix.
Yeah, there's Comic-Con, or not Comic-Con, but it's
Heroes Con.
Heroes Con here in Charlotte, and it's
like
it's like comic.
Right?
It's comic books, and you'll see it's like 60% comic people. Mm-hmm. It's like you'll see a lot of cosplayers and like Captain America or something from a comic book. Yeah. But then it's like there's still like anime characters coming in, and Five Nights at Freddy fur bears and stuff like that.
It's because they still have. If you look on the site or whatnot, it still says like for this community, and this community. It's just that they're putting in effort to advertise only one community. Yeah. So that's the community that's going to show up.
But
that's true.
They kind of all, but someone kid that cosplays, they're like, it's convention.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I went to Heroes Con, and like, there were a couple of anime weeps that are like snuck around and were like selling their whole stuff like over in a corner, and like those people were cool. It was a good time.
But it typically then you kind of like set yourself outcast a little bit when it's like more geared towards like something not anime. Mm-hmm. So if you're at like a hunting convention or something like that, where you're like kind of in the middle in between, like what the hell is this?
Yeah, pretty much. It's you really have to be aware of like what you're going to. That's like kind of a hard thing to figure out too, because it just totally depends. Like pay attention to like, I guess like the branding of it. Like look up photos from the con if you can. Like I know some of them are small. It's kind of harder to tell. And then like sometimes like cons will move, and that'll like really hurt the like population that goes to that con. So you might go to one that's expected to be better than it is, but it's not because it moved that year. And then COVID like really messed up things. I hear like.
Yeah, well, I was about to ask you because I feel like you started.
I started vending and stuff, like where COVID wasn't really a problem anymore because it's this year versus like
the smack dab of 2020 or whatever.
Yeah, I have heard of like, you know, stuff from like some of my friends and things like that. And it was, I mean, some people, that's their whole livelihood. Like that really is a scary thing.
Yeah, probably put a real damper on.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm friends with like some of these people that's like their livelihood. They've been doing it for, one of them is like, they've been doing it for like 8 years. He's like, oh, you're just a baby. Like, you just started. I'm like, thanks.
8 years is a long time.
Yeah. And then other people I've talked to been doing it for 3, 4, 5. You know, I've talked to so many people. It's really fun though to be at conventions because something that's so like great is that like a lot of the artists, like you're going to be bought from by a lot of the artists that are there, which is really fun. Like, because eventually, you know, we all get a break at some point. Like my boyfriend will take over, or like if I have a friend or a cousin there or whatnot, they'll take over and I'll get to like go walk around.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about that. I was like, so what is like kind of like your work hours? How does all that kind of work out? Like, do you set a certain amount of like, I'm going to be at my booth for like 12 hours straight today? Or how does that work for you?
You have times when the place is open and you need to get there on time. I am awful. I am always late. I can be in an attached hotel and I'll still be like 5 minutes late somehow. But you need to be there. Like, if you're not there, like during the day, like if you just leave your booth open, like people could steal stuff. You're going to be looked at in a bad light if like an organizer or something notices because like, you know, they want people to be there and experience stuff. They don't want people to not be at their booths and things like that.
Have you ever had anything like stolen or anything like that?
I haven't noticed anything stolen. Freak out if something is. But I mean, it's...
That seems like very easy to do at a con.
I swear it's really not. Like we see a lot. Like... Yeah. We can see everything y'all do, even if we're kind of like busy. Like, no.
There's that spatial awareness again.
It really is. Like, I feel like if anything's going to be stolen from my booth, it would be like the bookmarks because they're small and a lot of people are touching them and like telling me what they want. Yeah. Or like things like that. But like, if it's like, I mean, I haven't had anything stolen. I feel like it would be kind of difficult to just because like the artists are like paying attention, even if they're kind of busy. Like I'm a scatterbrain a lot, but like there's 2 of us typically at a booth. It's probably pretty easy, but at the same time, like we have nothing else to do but like sit for like hours and watch. And like the only time it would really be easy to at like an artist alley booth is if we're like literally turned around grabbing something for someone else. Yeah, so like in artist alley it's like very small.
And like I imagine because like the community there, because it's all, I'm sure a lot of you guys are traveling. You just happen to see a lot of the same people all over the time. So I imagine how's the community aspect of like being a vendor at cons and stuff like that?
It's really fun. I'm not one of the more like social, like I'll talk to people and everything, but I'm not going to be there like after hours, like at a dance or like anything like that.
You've been at work all day.
I am just, and I've been cosplaying. Like you know, I'm like really like I think about it. I'm like I am like the only like person dumb enough to cosplay like most days at cons. Like,
but that's fucking
a vendor
cool,
or it's a great artist alley person.
Too. Yeah, it's fucking cool.
It's really fun to like. I actually do like take time to like go and walk around and like sometimes I'll find an area where like people are doing photo shoot stuff and like people will ask me to take photos. And I'll get those and really fun stuff. So that's always super great. So I do like actually taking time away from my booth to go and do that. But
networking.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Except for that half the time that I don't even have a business card on me. I always forget. I get so mad at myself because I'll be like already like so far away. I'm like, I'm not walking back, but I'll just tell them. But yeah. So yeah, I get some cool photos. I meet some really cool people, or I take photos with people, and then I'll be like, "Come find me at my booth later," or whatnot, you know. So that's always fun. But again, I am really lucky because I always have someone with me in my booth. If you notice, like a lot of the time, there's only like one person there. Yeah. So I'm just very lucky to have my boyfriend or. You know, sometimes I have the vendor booths and I can have even more than like 2 people. So I'll have like a friend or a cousin with me or something like that. So that's always really fun.
So do you guys always like travel together and everything?
Mm-hmm. just don't really. I know he doesn't want me to go alone either, but I do not trust people enough to be a girl and alone. Just no, I really don't. I mean, the cities, like we're at, cities a lot of the time. It's not some rural area where like really nobody's going to be there and like bother you. Like you're a city and there's going to be like people at night, like, people are out and it's just not the best group of people that are out at night sometimes. And it's like we've had a couple instances where it's like, okay, or like we've heard stories of like people being almost robbed, people being like eyed to be robbed, people running at people, or just different things like that, like just being in the cities. So like that's daunting. I really don't go out much after a convention unless it's like not like a very far walk away.
Yeah.
But even then, like, it's still like you can still run into some really sketchy people right outside a hotel.
Do you live in a city or?
I live like in a small town.
Okay.
So I'm also just not used to people in like a large capacity. It really stresses me out. Like
Charlotte, like you can see
around.
some really like crazy stuff like when you're in the city in the weekend or something like that.
We had to get used to that. The first time at like our conventions, we were overstimulated and about to have a panic attack, just like walking around and navigating all these people, just trying to talk. There's so much chaos at a convention.
Yeah. It's less of, I mean, that is always something truly. If you have a problem with like, being overwhelmed and stuff like that, like conventions are kind of tough.
It is nice though being like in a community though, because like kind of when there is a con going on, you can watch literally I remember when I went to Animazement, all these cosplayers just took over that part of the city for a long time. You just see all these crazy. Everyone's just dressed up and they're in like a subway just ordering food.
I think of this one person I ran into at this con. It was called like Anime USA and it was recently. I ran into them in the bathroom and I was like fixing my wig and stuff like that. Like because a lot of the time I'm so late always. Like I have a problem. I do. And so I was getting there and I was like, I had my boyfriend at the booth and I was like, I'm going to the bathroom, gonna put my wig on, my costume's already on. I look like I'm like ready for like a business meeting because I'm Makima.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go put my wig on. And when I'm doing that, I run into this girl and she's like talking to me because, we're girls. We talk in the bathroom. It's what we do. And so I'm talking to her and she's like, yeah, I just don't want to be like, I couldn't put this on outside because I didn't want to be hate crimed. I was like, oh my God. It's like, please. It really wasn't like it was early and it really wasn't a huge convention. So I get where she's coming from. But like the city we were in like wasn't even like that dangerous. I was like, girl, it is like 10 a.m. right now. We're fine.
You're safe. It's okay.
It's all right. It was just really good. Like I think of that all the time. Like gonna get hate crimed. Like that was just the funniest thing to me. Like to hear in the bathroom, like just out of nowhere from this cosplayer beside me. I was like, okay, that's gonna live rent-free in my head forever.
There is a lot of interesting things happen when when there's a convention going on, it's just like a lot of people just let loose.
Dude, I will never get tired of telling this. I will tell the story for as long as I can.
Are you going to tell the furry story?
Yes. I went to MacFest in like 2016.
Oh yeah, I had a photographer friend that's going there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, MacFest is great. I haven't been since 2016.
Okay, cool. Tell me about it. I'd love to know.
Well, it was an interesting convention because it was not only was it absolutely massive and it was like my first convention. There's a lot of like musicians there because it's like a music and gaming.
Yes.
And so half the con I had no idea what it was.
Okay.
But we landed in MacFest and it's this massive, gorgeous hotel and it's just overrun with cosplayers and furries and all of that good stuff. And I unironically love the furry community. I love what they're about. I love what they stand for. But I remember getting into the MacFest in 2016. It has been 4 hours since the doors opened.
Yeah.
And over the intercom or like through murmurs of people, they've been talking. Security guards like came rushing into the hotel part of the convention.
Yeah.
And then little murmurs started showing up. And she was like, "Oh, did you hear about the group of furries that were like having an drug-fueled orgy in a hotel room?" It took like 4 hours and they already got kicked out And so like all the little murmur started happening, and people were like other furries were talking about it. It's just like, hey, be careful in your hotel room. These people already got kicked out. And then we hear over the intercom or like announcement that's saying like illicit substances will warrant like an immediate like banning from the grounds of the hotel room. God. It was fucking crazy. And so that whole weekend, it was all full of like just furries going wild. And like,
my God.
The crazy thing about that story is they didn't call the cops; they called animal control. That's my favorite joke to use when we tell a story.
I know that it's a good joke because Braden's so in here. Fucking red.
They just got like some guy in like one of those things that they use on dogs where it's like the stick, and he's like, "Yeah, cut." He's howling. He's "Ow!"
You know those little trap mirror cages? It's just like a big one.
The human cage, but it's just a big furry in there.
Were they arrested and brought out like in their furry gear, or like since it was an orgy, was it like off? Like I need.
Oh, it's on. It's for sure on.
Like I mean, is it?
Furry custom says on endurance. I don't think it was fucking wild. I don't know about it because I never saw them. But it was, I remember walking through like a hotel room and there was smoke coming out of like one of the hotel rooms.
What the
And like the smoke triggered the smoke alarm, and that's what put the security guard people to the room. And then it turns out they were just like smoking pot and doing cocaine and fucking. Like, and they got banned. Like 4 hours. It took them 4 hours.
4 hours in.
How
They
you...
had 4 hours in a dream. That's what they had. I even forgot how we got there, but I meant to ask you, like, have you seen any crazy shit like that at cons? Because I feel like people at cons,
Dude,
they view us as like reserved little nerds, but a lot of us go fucking crazy in cons. A lot of the community.
That is like there
wild.
is like I feel like a big percentage of people, as soon as they hit the con, they're like, let's get fucking lit. Let's go.
In the little lounge during Queen City Anime Con, like I saw cosplayers that I'd seen the whole day be like super quiet and reserved for suddenly, like I saw an Idori throwing ass in the middle of the dance floor.
Right, the dancing.
Yeah, it was great. But the whole time I'd seen that person and they were just like super quiet, like grabbing around with like a little snag and fucking let loose, man.
I guess you probably don't see a lot of that if you're at your booth all day.
I don't get to see a lot of the fun stuff. I get to see like fun cosplays, but like other than that, I don't like see crazy. I can't.
Something sparked.
No, it's not crazy. It's just there's always like I swear at these conventions there's always like someone screaming like it's a Netsu. It's like chasing a Nezuko, like screaming and running like through the convention. I always see something like kind of there's normally something maybe like that, but a lot of the conventions I'm at are pretty chill. Like
can you cut this next part out?
Yeah.
Brian, hang on.
Sure.
Brian, cut this next part out, okay? Because I'm name dropping.
I mean,
somebody did get yelled at.
I know, but it's always the Netsus because they're always screaming and running. That's what they get.
And at the end of GalaxyCon, there was always like a group of people, at least in Raleigh, just throwing ass, like right there. Like But on our way out, they're just over there like throwing ass in a circle, like it's wild.
Oh yeah, yes, the little dance area right at top. Yes, and yes. Oh my God, I remember like my friend saying like there was a Kea. Like there was like a ballroom dance somewhere.
Yeah.
I can't remember which con, maybe Animisment. There was like a ballroom dance area and like someone dressed up as that Genshin character, Kea. Could be saying that wrong. Don't know.
I don't know.
They're the hot one with blue hair. And that's probably like 3 of them. But they were like, they got in trouble. They got in trouble for like busting it down on the dance floor. So, yeah, they were like, no, this is a ballroom dance. And they were like fucking like down there. Yeah.
Have you ever been to one of the raves? Have you ever seen one of those? That's when people really start.
And I haven't because I'm tired.
Good. Don't go into that.
Yeah. Me too. I don't know how you did it. At Queen City Anime, I was just like shooting stuff.
Queen City had like they had like a part where you had to be 21 plus. They had like the dance area, and I would like see people open the door. I was like, damn, that looks crazy, and then just like head to the rave.
Yeah, it's exactly my response to it.
Yeah.
I went and filmed it. I had to, because I live on the edge of Charlotte and I was driving in. So I was driving 40 minutes to get to this con. And then I would drive 40 minutes back. And then I had to, and I was filming everything. So I spent all day in cosplay at the con. And then I had to go film the rave. And then I was like, at the end of that, I was like, I'm literally going to like.
Yeah, you look like you were gonna throw up. At the end of the night.
Well, yeah, dude.
We got to the panel. Our panel was on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I see him and he's like hung over and like fucking dying.
I was slamming soju just all day and just like filming. It was great.
That's fucking cool.
So you don't see anything crazy at cons because you're just kind of like at your booth.
I really don't.
Yeah.
I am like disappointed in this because this sounds great, but I just can't think of anything great that I've seen.
I'd be remiss if I don't ask like, how many people come to your booth and they just like smell awful? Because that's such a big thing at cons.
Do you normally like smell people?
There's so many people.
There's so many sweaty people at cons.
Well, I always have like a mask on, like always. And I really can't say I'm like out sniffing people, but like,
well, it's not like I'm not saying like no one's actively trying to sniff.
Like it's
it's
a con and there's like icky air and like stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is what it is.
I feel like
we really do put up with like a whole lot of like tiny inconveniences that by the end of the weekend you just want to take like. You just want to burn your skin off in the shower. It's just like the amount of people breathing in on you.
When you leave for the day at the con, you always feel sticky.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. You could have been fine all day, but as soon as you leave that sticky air, you're like, ooh, what is... I'm readjusting back to normal air, and it feels weird out here.
Yeah.
So do you like travel to a lot of cons?
Yeah, I travel to a decent amount of conventions. I mainly stay on East Coast and stuff just because that's easiest to drive to. If I ever do start flying to places, I will go to like some of the bigger cons that don't like coincide with cons that are like around me on the East Coast and stuff. But yeah, I've been down to Florida and my most recent con was like up in Ohio. So I'm excited to travel a bit more in the next year, as long as I don't miss application periods.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Is there a con that you're like kind of like looking like it's a dream con to go to and like sell your stuff?
I really would love to go to like, I guess it's like, I really want to go to Anime NYC. Like I really do. Like I really want to go to that one. I just would have to drive fly. I'd have to fly.
Yeah,
and that is like
a
whole. I mean, I could drive it, but that sounds horrible to drive in New York City. Yeah. So I would have to fly, and that would be a new experience for me that like I'm not used to. And I also have like stuff that like doesn't fit in bags, so like. I would have to buy like different items in place of those, I'm pretty sure. Or like, I don't know. I'd have to figure that out. Like it's a lot to figure out. Like, I mean, it is a lot to figure out when you're driving to conventions, but it's a whole other thing if you're like flying. It just depends on like
there's a lot of crazy logistics that probably involved with like trying to get all the items and everything.
Yeah. So I'd have to like get a few different items with other items that will actually fit in like suitcases and stuff like that. So it'd just be a different process. It's really not like the worst. I'm not like scared of flying. It's just I'm scared of my stuff not showing up at the airport.
That sounds awful.
Yeah.
Did you ever like notice like a spike between like when you're selling online, marketing yourself, and then when you're started going to conventions? Did it ever go up from just like talking word of mouth and everything to people?
You'll get followers and stuff like that, because they'll buy from you or they'll take your business card and like people will follow you and things like that. But otherwise, you have to be like consistent with like engagement and like posting and things like that to really see like the fruit of like your effort on that one. I'm terrible, so that's
it's a full-time job.
The best. So yeah, it'd be better. The people that I've seen be the most successful, they post not every day, but maybe every week, and they post reels and TikToks, or they do TikToks. And a lot of the time, I mean, people are so invested on the video content right now, the short video content. It is really like key. That's like a huge benefit if you can use it, would be like not putting money necessarily into ads, I'd say. I mean, that is helpful to like start off and like get people to know you and see you and stuff like that. I have a lot of followers, I think, from like California because of that, because I targeted my ads there. But it's such a process to really see, like just see what is working and what's not. But I would say a great place to start would be like posting once a week and doing short form video content. Yeah. It can really blow up.
Short form video content is a really organic way right now.
Yeah, it can really blow up because there's just it's not oversaturated yet.
Yeah.
But photos are, so.
That's true.
So this is one thing, create content people want to share. They want to share. They want to send their friend. They think it's funny. Those things are always going to do a lot better than if you're just marketing like serious shots have a purpose, but the best thing is always to be interesting or funny, basically.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's true. We got to operate comedy game, Crockett.
That's going to be hard.
So we got to start wrapping up soon, but I wanted to ask you, if someone were to like ask you for advice on how to start selling at conventions or do the thing that you're doing.
Yeah, how would someone like that's just going to cons, but they have like art and they want to like kind of get into the space that you're in now? How would they go about doing that?
I would just basically do what I did and like pay attention to what other people are doing and pay attention to what you like. I might not personally do my stuff, but I do know or not all of my stuff, but I do know of plenty of brands that do, plenty of brands that don't. Really work on your art, work on finding ways to share it on social media. Definitely see what's in your area to vend or sell at. It could even be like small little like street festival stuff if you think the area is one that has like people that like anime or whatnot that go to it. I'm just not near any of those, but there's different ways, lots of different ways to get into stuff. Use platforms as stepping stones. Like I used Etsy to get my start and at least got the confidence to continue on to like bigger projects from there. Because people, if you like something, there will be other people that will like that thing as well.
Yeah.
So,
it's just trying to reach that is like the hard part.
It is. And that's why I say, like, I'm not really a funny person. So I struggle more with like funny content. But if you're an artist, like, I always see artists say this, like they'll be like, oh, like I've spent so much time on this piece. It's, cost me my like whole right arm working this week because it's in so much pain. It's so great. Spent like 27 gazillion hours on it and it gets like no likes. But what does is like a funny little meme thing that they post. So
I can tell you exactly.
Yeah. I'm not saying like water down your brain with that, but like shareable content.
Every Nintendo Direct Twitter artist they'll have like all their normal content, but they'll just make one meme out of like
within seconds,
and then it just skyrockets.
Yeah.
I watch it every time there's a Nintendo Direct. There's like a bunch of art that just starts like going crazy.
Yeah, and also like the easiest thing is to befriend people in that community. Like I had my friend Skylar, and she was great to bounce questions off of or anything like that. So just talk to people in the community or online or everything like that. Just be safe with it. But other than that, just talk to people, be friendly, and work on this is really important. Work on like specifically what you want to do. I want to work with villains, and that's probably not the most prosperous thing, but it's what I like. So I like to work with that. But other people, like chibi stuff, like cute stuff. So just figure out what you want to focus on.
And just go ham on it.
Yeah, pretty much. Just go hard.
Just go ham.
Yeah, you'll find your style too if you aren't quite at that point yet. I would just definitely like work on yourself, your brand, what you want to platform on, and you will burn yourself out if you're not careful. So invest the energy you have into what you want to do, pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And if someone wanted to like find your stuff, where could they find that at and like maybe purchase?
I am on Instagram, I'm most active. I have like a Facebook, a Twitter, and a TikTok. I will get more into TikTok soon, but I have links in my bio in these places, so you can find my store there at malicioussociety.com, and you can purchase pretty much anything that's at cons and more there. So yeah.
And you're on Instagram,
Twitter, TikTok. And I don't really go to the Facebook, so yeah.
And you definitely don't go to the Etsy.
Yeah. So yeah, Etsy gone too.
That is, it's really funny because you're the first person I've encountered that has actually been the MC from Etsy. I just thought you too? Yeah.
I was about to say, he's banned too. I mean, dang.
That's so fucking funny.
We out here, like, we're not even, like, testing the waters. We're just, like, causing problems.
You know, it is kind of funny because we got DMC'd once, and it was directly from Mappa, yeah.
It was a Chainsaw Man episode, right?
Yeah, it wasn't even the algorithm. Someone from Mappa saw one of my videos, and then they're like,
absolutely not.
No.
Yeah.
What?
They took we had, I think it was
Which
the outro.
platform?
It was YouTube.
Yeah.
It was YouTube.
We still have that strike to this day.
Yeah, we still have that strike. It takes like
for
90 days.
Oh god.
But it was a Chainsaw Man episode 2 review, and I think Crockett played like 30 seconds of the outro.
Yeah.
I like slice in like their ending theme songs, and I was just slicing them up, but I got lazy at one point, and I just let one play fully, and it just never occurred to me because there was so much going on that I never didn't slice that one part up, and because I didn't have any of their audio in there, but just because that one animation of an ending played out, they hit me for it.
Oh god.
So the funny thing is, I just imagine some like Mappa guy like go into this 864 subscriber YouTube going like, fuck that guy in particular.
He's
for
like,
that video.
you gonna take my money out of my.
I haven't seen my family in 3 days, and you're gonna take
You
my
gonna
fucking
take my
money?
fucking money? I'll be damned. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you guys for joining us this week. We will see you next week for another episode. Mel, thank you so much for joining. For joining us.
For having me.
If you guys, all her links are going to be down in the bio. So if you want to go purchase anything or check out her store, all that, send her a nice message. Just go down to the links below.
Please go support Mel. Go support the Malicious Society. Hear all the things. Again, I'm also going to put them on the screen.
Yay.
And thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much. You drove like an hour and a half to come here, so we appreciate it.
It was only an hour, so that was good.
But you had to drive through Charlotte traffic.
I did have to drive through Charlotte. That is an experience.
I'm so sorry.
That's like an emotional 45 minutes. But yeah, no, seriously, thank you guys so much. And thank you all so much for watching. We will see you next week. And cheers.
Yeah. Cheers. Bye, you guys.
Bye.